What is up, guys? I'm Ncaa31 here, bringing you a little bit of around the NCAA as I play NCAA 14 here, Oregon against Michigan State. I need to download some new rosters or updated rosters. I'm just too lazy to do it, but whatever. Gonna go around. Well, I really want to focus. I saw a lot of things that interested me in the opening weekend of college football, but I want to mainly focus on Ohio State and Texas in this segment. And I'll start with Ohio State. I actually feel bad for Vodtech. Vodtech's one of those programs that just can't find a quarterback. They can never find a competent quarterback. Their offense is rotted when they had the Vicks and when they had guys like Tyrod Taylor, let alone the ham and eggers that they're trotting out there now. I mean, Logan Thomas, he sucked. How Logan Thomas is on an NFL roster is just completely beyond me. But their offenses have been shaky when they have talented quarterbacks. They'll always play defense, and they'll be in your face when they play defense. There's no bend, don't break to their game at all. I mean, Bud Foster, he's going to roll out that 4-2-5, no safety help in the middle of the field, and he's going to be right in the face of your offensive line and your receivers. Period. End of discussion. You got to be a man to play corner in that system. But the problem with that type of boom or bust style is that when you can't score, you're just on the field too much. And there's going to be a time when the dam is going to burst. And that's what happened to them. They actually had the lead at one point, but they just can't sustain it. And when you play, if I'm going to get beat, I'm going to get beat big defense like that. A game can snowball on you if you leave yourself exposed that much. And that's pretty much what happened to them. But they had the right game plan. Outside of popping one big run, Ezekiel Elliott didn't do very much, and they put the game on the receivers and the quarterback. That's what Vodtech's been doing forever. And unfortunately for them, Ohio State has the quarterback and they have the wide receivers. Or I should say the quarterbacks, and one of the quarterback is now a wide receiver. And Herb finally has his Percy Harvin. He's had him all along, he's just been playing quarterback for the past couple of years. Herb is going to win huge at Ohio State. I mean, he's got it rolling now. He's getting his type of players in there. They'll allow him to bring in anyone who he wants onto that campus. He's going to be a problem. Multiple national titles for Urban at that school. And Chris Ash is one of the better defensive minds in college football. He's his new Charlie Strong. He can just run the defense, and you don't got to worry about that unit whatsoever schematically. But he has his guys now offensively for that spread. I'm not surprised that Cardale Jones was a starter based off of what he did last year. And plus, I think Urban likes big quarterbacks like that. I think he likes his quarterbacks built like Tebow, built like Cam Newton, because his quarterback option and running game isn't like Oregon's. His quarterbacks have to run dive. They have to run ISOs and power counters and the veer. So I think he prefers to have a big, strong QB, like a Cardale Jones, who looks like he's gotten even bigger. I mean, he looks like a damn defensive end, but I think Cardale Jones fits his prototype more than a jitterbug type like Braxton Miller or even a JT Barrett. Now, he'll certainly take those guys, but I think if faced with the choice, he wants that big physical QB runner. So he's got that piece now, and also he can really wing it. I mean, woof. Physical throwing a talent, my gosh. So he has that. He has the back. So you have to account for the power between the tackle game from not only Ezekiel Elliott, but also the back being the lead blocker for the QB ISO and the second puller for the counter, which they did several times, as well as having that Percy Harvin pivot position, which Braxton Miller can fill, as we saw, both as a receiver, as a runner, and you can do run-pass option with that, in addition to the zone read stuff. So, good luck. Good luck stopping this. They are going to put up massive points this season because they've already seen the best defense they'll see until they get to Michigan State, and they got a while before that game. So they're going to be having a party on offense. I mean, they have games like Hawaii, NIU, Western Michigan, Indiana, Maryland, Penn State, Rutgers coming up. I don't know how they're going to defend this. I really don't. They're just going to steamroll right through their schedule until the playoff games. Now, let me get to Texas. I love my Notre Dame Fighting Irish, as you all know, but I also like Charlie Strong a lot. I think he's one of the good guys in college football, and I really want him to succeed at that job, but I'm starting to worry about him and his survival at that program. He's starting to show some signs that that job might be a little bit too big for him. You know, coaching at these fishbowl traditional powers is not an easy thing. You know, coaching in places like Ann Arbor, South Bend, Austin, Gainesville, Columbus, even Lincoln still, even Nebraska still. Coaching at these tradition rich, historic, fishbowl, college football powers is very difficult. And some guys can't handle it. Some guys are better off coaching at places like West Virginia and Arizona, like Rich Rod, or at a Louisville, where you can go 6-5, 7-4, turn over the entire roster, develop 2 or 3 recruiting classes to maturity, and not worry about these maniacal expectations every year that these programs have. And I fear he's starting to crack already. I mean, week one, and you demote your offensive coordinators. First of all, I don't like the idea of having co-coordinators. That's an alarm bell right there. You demote them and you promote your wide receivers coach. They fooled around with wanting to go spread this off season. And here's the thing about college football. In college football, you can't dabble. You got to go all in with whatever you're trying to run. Whether it's pro style, whether it's throwing the ball 50 times a game, whether it's running spread option, you got to go in with both feet because you just don't have the time to work on a million different things. It's not the NFL where you can just pretty much do whatever the heck you want because you're dealing with grown men. This is their occupation. You know, you've got these kids for maybe 3 or 4 hours a day, so you got to establish your identity and drill it over and over and over again until it becomes a part of your player's DNA. And watch that with Alabama because Lane Kiffin likes to get cute every now and then. And, you know, Saban does not do cute. Not at all. That bears watching. But anyway, I think Strong kind of talked himself into going the spread route, and it doesn't fit his temperament. He wants to be a physical pro style guy. That's what he is. But the bigger problem than that is where are the players? This is Texas. Where are the players? My gosh, I mean, true freshmen. He's got 2 true freshmen starting on the offensive line. He's got a true freshman trying to block Sheldon Day, who's a grown man who's going to be a first day NFL draft pick. He's got true freshmen playing at linebacker, true freshmen in the secondary. Swoops is a terrible quarterback. You got no quarterback. You got a redshirt freshman behind him and God knows what else. It's a problem. I mean, I think Notre Dame is going to be good this year. They have backs and wide receivers as far as the eye can see. The line is very good. Notre Dame has corners now. They've always had good safety people. They have several safeties in the NFL. I can't remember the last time Notre Dame had a quality corner or quality corners. I mean, their cover people for the past few years have made me want to have a heart attack half the time. But they can cover people now. Jalen Smith is the closest thing to Derek Brooks I've seen since Derek Brooks. Defensive line, deep and athletic. Sheldon Day and Trombetti are problems. Linebackers are good. Joe Schmidt keeps Niles Morgan off the field, and Niles Morgan is a freak of an athlete. Notre Dame can play some defense, but Texas made them look like 2012 Alabama. Something is not right. A&M, Baylor, and TCU must really be working them over in recruiting, which is really hard to fathom. I mean, 10, 15 years ago, if there was a kid in the state that Texas wanted, he went to Texas, period. But times have changed. I think Johnny Football began this. Johnny Football kind of made Texas A&M the cool place to go. And I think that's really hurt Texas. And Baylor, and I don't like Baylor. I think Baylor's an Oregon wannabe. They're an Oregon imposter, an impersonator. I don't like the way Baylor plays at all. I don't respect them. Defensively, they're a joke. I mean, you got to play some defense. I understand in this era it's tough. And there are many weeks where if you give up 30 points to 35 points, you've done a good job. But your defense just can't be a complete circus act. But even Baylor has some swag factor to them now, and TCU as well. Kids like that stuff. Texas has become, in a lot of ways, the program that the old people like me talk about, reminiscing about great players like Vince Young and Ricky Williams. I mean, these kids are a generation removed from Vince Young, believe it or not. And, I think that's a problem for them. They have to whatever they're doing, whatever they want to do, whatever they want to be, they got to figure it out in a hurry because that fan base, they're not going to tolerate getting their teeth kicked in like that on national television for very long. That will not fly. So I hope Charlie gets that figured out. I really do. As far as some other odds and ends from the opening week of the college football season, I'm going to cut TCU some slack. Minnesota has got a halfway decent defense. And, stuff can happen. They're a little bit sloppy and not quite clicking on all cylinders. Opening week, you can forgive that. Them falling to number 3 already is a joke. I mean, come on. Give them some respect. But, that's the Alabama and SEC factor. I mean, as far as Alabama Wisconsin went, Wisconsin, the way they play, that's made to order for Alabama. You're not beating Alabama lining up in an I formation and trying to fight them in a phone booth. That's what Alabama lives for. You beat Alabama by either spreading them out and forcing their big guys off the field, playing with tempo, spread it to run it, and make them chase your receivers in space along the perimeter. That's how you beat Alabama. You're not beating them trying to run halfback off tackle 40 times a game. That ain't gonna work. I saw enough of Auburn Louisville to, come to the conclusion that Muschamp is really going to help Auburn's defense. They don't have to be shut down, like I said earlier, but they just can't be embarrassing. And Muschamp's one of these guys that is better off as a coordinator running one unit than running your entire team. He's already got them playing much more in your face, challenging receivers, challenging the line of scrimmage, and going after it a little bit more. I thought A&M looked quite good. Defensively, I was very impressed with A&M. They got some athletes on defense now to go along with their offense. Their offense is always going to be very sound. Sumlin is one of these guys that's always going to have a sound offensive scheme, sound offensive system. Just a matter of plugging in a quarterback and letting him go. He's one of these air raid disciples. He's got a system down to a T, and what he needs is a defense that can hold serve every now and then. And if he has that, he'll do good things. I didn't see enough of Georgia or Oklahoma. I think Tennessee Oklahoma is a really interesting game. I think Tennessee is ascending, while Oklahoma has kind of plateaued. They've plateaued for a while. They've been in that mode where they find a way to lose 2 or 3 games every year, sometimes 4, and they're better than that talent wise. But I don't know. I think Stoops may have gone a little stale, and that can happen when you've been in one spot for 5 million years. But they went through a little bit of a offensive renaissance during the off season, going back to their Josh Heupel, Jason White, Sam Bradford roots. with the air raid, and perhaps we'll see a bit of a revival, a little bit more of a spark out of Oklahoma this year, and they'll play up to their reputation. That'd be nice to see. I'd like to see the Big 12 be a three or maybe even a four-team race with West Virginia, maybe stirring some things up here and there. Just as long as it's not Baylor. Ugh. Anyone but Baylor, really. So, those are my thoughts on or post opening college football weekend. Looking forward to the games this week. Looking forward to hearing your guys' thoughts. Talk to you all later. Peace.